Okay, so this video is going to be my last video with the GH5 because I got the A7S III and I just want to give you my thoughts between these two, even though I've been using the A7S III for like maybe a month-ish now versus the over 3 years with the GH5. Now, I want to say I can still use the GH5 if I wanted to. I didn't really have to upgrade, but there are two big reasons why I wanted to, and that's the autofocus and the low light, which is pretty obvious. Now in this video, I'm not going to give you any crazy spec talks. It's just going to be straight up my thoughts on these cameras. Now this is the GH5 and we're in pretty low light situation right now. No street lights along this path and we're at 8000 ISO. So of course, it's not going to look as clean. Alright, so let's start off with the handling. On the Sony, I like how the grip is very deep, so it's super easy to hold, and I really like how I can easily just turn on the camera and start recording with just my index finger. Now on the GH5, the grip is also comfortable and easy to hold. For me, the grip on this is very grippy, so when I'm holding it, it just sits in my hand better. So it doesn't feel like I'm gonna drop this in an instant. Whereas on the Sony, it's a bit smoother. Now both cameras do have really good button placement, so as I'm reaching around with my fingers and thumbs, it feels very natural. Now I got the 16-35 on the Sony, which will be my main lens on that one, and it's so much bigger and heavier. That is a downside of it, so when I'm traveling, it's not gonna be as convenient as the GH5. On the GH5, my main setup was the 12-35, which is like 24-70 equivalent, and it's still lighter and easier to travel with because it's just more compact. Now Sony updated the menu, which is super useful and super easy to use. For me, I got no issues going around and just going into these options, and the structure-wise is still the same as the GH5 or pretty identical, so I would say both are very easy to use. Now since I got the GH5, the IBIS was so good, it changed my style of shooting, so I turned into this more run and gun style shoot, and because of this is so important to me. Therefore, when I'm on the Sony, it's going to be on active mode all the time, no matter what. Now I know there is another way to stabilize Sony's footage using their own profile or their own program, but for me, I just want my workflow to be super simple and clean. So for me, I think active mode will just make my life so much easier editing. Now for autofocus, it's no comparison. The A7S III is the winner, and even though after 3 years of using GH5, I still don't fully trust it with it on. Now I would say that yes, it has gotten so much better from the first firmware upgrade until now, so it is improved a lot, but still, I just don't fully trust it. But on A7S III, I'm just gonna keep it on no matter what because it's just that good. Now, I shoot a lot of videos, so photography for me isn't gonna be as important, so therefore, I don't really care if it's only 12 megapixels. The only time where I would take pictures is either I'm going to upload it on Instagram or thumbnails, which is online. So for me, it's not going to be as important as video. So I feel like I'm not missing out. I would say that even though it's a downgrade from the GH5 in terms of the megapixel count, I would say that I am getting the full frame look, and I would prefer that over the micro four thirds look. And for low light, of course, the A7S III is the winner here. I'm actually standing here just because there is light, and if I keep going further down, there is no light, and it's going to be super noisy. You can't even see me because the low light on the GH5 is not that good. And when you combine the bad low light performance and autofocus on the GH5, as you can tell, I'm not in focus entirely. So it's not that good in a lot of situations like this. So when I'm going to conventions, conferences, and some meetings in hotel rooms like CES, the lighting is just not that good. So therefore, I do need a good low light performing camera, which the GH5 is not. So my full takeaway here is it doesn't matter if I'm using the A7S III or the GH5. Both are tools to get the job done. I know the A7S III is beefier, heavier, and harder to travel with, but for the trade-off, I think it's so worth it to get the better autofocus, the better low light performance, and the full frame look. For example, this is a low light beast. I'm standing out here walking in the park without any street lights, and is at 8000 ISO, and I'm pretty sure it will look pretty sharp versus the GH5. So far, I am happy with the upgrade, and for now on, this is the camera I will be using. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. You can find me on Instagram, and please subscribe if you haven't yet. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.